Joy, you asked me to look at Ashley's profile. Okay, I believe this is the conversation you asked me to look at. And by the way, this is a horrible conversation. Let's start from the beginning. It looks like he probably deleted previous conversation. Um, because this starts on October. Are you getting clients from LinkedIn? So we need to ask him, are you deleting our previous conversation and why are you doing that? And say something like, I have 180 to 100 conversations with different people. If you keep deleting our previous conversation, I have no idea what we talked about. And please don't expect me to remember what I said to you a year ago. Okay, so oh, this is freaking annoying. Why can't I move this? Okay, connected in April 2020. So there should be other conversations from back then. Um, so that's the first question I would ask. Are you deleting our previous conversation? Because chances are, because the way this looks now, there's no videos here. Um, there's nothing for him to really research and read and figure out what we're talking about. So this is a horrible conversation at this point. I should see at least 4 or 5 different videos here because he's obviously saying that he's not getting clients from LinkedIn. Then there should have been videos about getting clients from LinkedIn and about marketing and about being aggressive and so on. Not really. I'm undecided whether to continue staying on LinkedIn. So obviously he's not happy with the results. Then he asks a question, how's the new office in Toronto? Then someone says, sorry, I missed your message, and completely ignores answering his question. Even if it's something superficial, yeah, the office is coming along well, or we're slow because of COVID, or whatever it is, but respond to his message. How can you create a trusted relationship if you ignore his questions, right? You get frustrated when they ignore your questions. And he's talking about a social media girl. Okay, so the question that I would ask here and reactivate this conversation here is, if you're hiring a social media girl who's creating the aggressive marketing system, what direction are you going? What kind of tools are you giving her and stuff like that? What kind of training are you giving her? Because if you're not getting clients from LinkedIn, that means you don't have the tools to get clients from LinkedIn. So how is she supposed to get clients from LinkedIn? So you got to ask a lot of questions. And obviously, I wrote something here that obviously doesn't apply until I read the history. So pause the video, read what I just wrote here. So we can't do that. Good morning, Silvio. Good morning, Silvio. I must apologize to you because our previous conversation doesn't make any sense. Period. Are you deleting some of the conversations we've had? Question mark. That's the only way that the conversation makes sense if you are deleting some of it. It also sounds like you're very frustrated with LinkedIn, and I'm sensing some frustration from your business as well. As well, period. Are you sure hiring a social media person is what you need? Don't you need to have a direction first before you hire a person to do nitty-gritty detail? Question mark. Don't you need to have a direction to go first to make sure you're not wasting time? Question mark. Do you have anyone advising you and your business? Question mark. I believe some of the videos below will help you as much as they helped me. Period. Today's email. Today's email. See, at least now he's got some videos to watch. He can now compare what he's doing to what he should be doing. And now I would tell him to watch the coaching video gone wrong first, and other videos that might help him. And now you can go back when you have a future conversation, you can ask him, which video did you watch? What did you get from it? And now you can go deeper into the conversations. Okay, does that make sense? Without having reference material to talk about, is just a superficial bullshit conversation that's going nowhere. And until he starts watching some videos, there's no way you can get appointments from him or have him become a client. Does that make sense? And you guys should know exactly what these videos say and what they talk about, because if you don't, then how can you talk to him about the videos? Okay? So we need to get our conversations to the next level. Okay, so I hope I gave you a better sample of what you should have done with Silvio. Obviously, he needs some information. And when I look at this with no links and no videos and nothing, it's a waste of time. Anything that's gone on before here just confused the shit out of him, especially when you ignore questions from him, right? And you should be asking about his work. Like, what kind of work does he do? He's a painter. You know, we should know how many painters he has, how long he's been in business. I mean, this will tell us he's been in business for 19 years. So you've been in business for 19 years. Does that mean you have more than 20 painters? What kind of work do you do? Do you do commercial work? Do you do condominium towers? It looks like he's using a spray painter there. So to comment on that, you know, good for you for using power tools. Great table that you've lacquered or whatever it is. Are you still on job sites? What is your quality of life? Do you have kids? None of those conversations look like they happen here, right? And you should be copying him and putting him on. This is when I say a profile URL, this is it here, right? You should put him on the hot list. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to allow you to do it so you can connect from other profiles. But he only has 114 connections. Of course, he's not going to get clients from LinkedIn, right? And tell him that. He has one of our profiles, Brittany Jones. I mean, he's commented on some of the other posts. Comment on his posts and engage with him. Post some videos on comments here. Figure out what this person is saying. Connect with her and post some videos here. She's engaged in her own posts. I don't know what this conversation is about. I don't have time to do that. But you guys are paid to do this, so engage and figure out if it's worthwhile. And don't post one comment. Either make a decision that you're going to post 20 comments on this post to take over the post, because one post is a waste of time. So either you post 10 or 20 or 0. Nothing in between. Either you take over the conversation or you ignore it. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so I just responded. Okay. So this is a good conversation. I don't know whether you guys have asked whether he's watched all these videos. We've been communicating since June of 2019, mentioned that to him, and he gave a superficial answer. This is a good question. Do you have proper system or strategies for your business? Are you open to some advice? Keeping healthy financials. This is a good comment. This sounds like joy. Keep healthy financials is one of the most important responsibilities for any business. Then he says, yes, I do. Okay. So if you let him get away with that, then the conversation ended and he's gone somewhere else. So what I've asked is, that's great to hear. Or maybe I should have said, that's great to hear that you believe in having healthy financials, to reinforce the comment that was made before. Then you go deeper, because he knows he's lying to himself here. So when you ask a question a second or third time, they're less likely to lie to themselves. So that's great to hear. What kind of reports do you have delivered to you? Okay. Maybe I should have highlighted or underlined delivered to you on a daily or weekly basis, because he's thinking, yeah, I can go into my QuickBooks and get any report that I want. But a proper bookkeeping service, and the reason why we're spending so much time on bookkeeping right now is because I'm looking to start a bookkeeping company. So, and that's why a lot of the future conversations, a lot of the future marketing trends that we're going to be doing is going to be involving bookkeeping. Okay. So this is a great start into that. So what kind of reports are you getting delivered to you on a daily or weekly basis? Is it charts or graphs, or is it just numbers? Okay. And there is a video that talks about bookkeeping. Today's email. Oh, crap. Today's email. And I believe I gotta keep remembering to turn off the microphone. So, and I believe this is it here, the first link. No, it isn't. Okay, so we need, and this is what you guys should be telling me, that we need, a bookkeeping video or marketing video or whatever type of video. You guys should be telling me this. But I'm pretty sure that I've done a bookkeeping video, and figure out which link that is, and you should be using that link more often. Okay, so, oops. So don't be afraid to go deeper, and if they say, yes, I do, then ask deeper questions. Okay, J Renovations. So remember, J is not his first name here, and that's why I said Phil. So when we look back, we know that he said his first name was Phil. So because Phil is not part of his name, we got to remember and make notes when we address him in the future to address him as Phil. Okay, and again, ask him, what did you get from the video on the mastermind group, or what did you get from the consulting group video, or my favorite video was the advisory. Oh Christ, where is it? Coaching Gone Wrong. My favorite video was the Coaching Gone Wrong video. What did you think of that one? Or what are you getting from the CEO Club, or so on? Now you have something to reference and talk about. And when you reference these videos 3 or 4 times, then he'll go back. And you can say, I understand you have no time, and I understand I sent you a lot of videos, but could you put 10 minutes aside each night to watch one video? Could you do that for yourself, your family, and your employees, right? And that way he knows that you're not being selfish, you're trying to help him, okay? And that has to come across clearly, okay? Sylvia, we talked about. Oh, I didn't send this. Okay, that's a good question. What occupies the majority of your day? Most people on here solicit stuff I would never want or need. I am here to get people to come in and throw axes or go into a rage room to relieve the stress of the moronic world we live in. Okay, so before I write something here, think about, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, pause the video here, come up with, pause it for at least 5 minutes, come up with an answer, okay, as to what you're going to do and how you're going to respond to this, then compare it to what I'm going to respond. I have no idea what I'm going to respond at this point. So pause here, write it down, make some notes on a piece of paper, and compare it to what I'm going to write. So unpause now. You took 5 minutes, unpause now. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously figure out who he is. Owner of Axe Monkeys. I think this is, he has a service where you throw axes at walls. Okay. So even though we might have asked this already, I would ask, how did you come up with this concept? That's a great concept, especially for first dates. With COVID now, how are you attracting people on the first date, second date, third date to come in and throw axes? That's great. But a business like that, can we agree, is going to need an aggressive marketing system. How are you reaching people? I know you've complained about people just try to market to you, but how are you using LinkedIn to market to these people and say, hey, bring your wife in on date night to come and throw some axes, right? Are you using video? What kind of tools are you using? Because if you haven't sent me video already, that means you're not using video. Why aren't you using video, right, to market your business? Who do you have advising you? Because if they're not telling you to use video, fire them today, because they're fucking idiots if they're not telling you to use video. And that's the tone you should be using with him, right? Because he's complaining that he's being bombarded with spam messages, and yet he doesn't understand how to use LinkedIn, right? Then you can go further and say, we have a mortgage broker that does $200 million from the connections we helped them acquire on LinkedIn, right? He should be doing at least 1 or 2 million from his connections, and we'll help him get connections on LinkedIn so he can get people to come in and throw axes, right, on his business. And once they've come in 4 or 5 times, they're going to get tired of throwing axes. What else does he have? What other tools? What other, does he have, painting sessions? Maybe he should coordinate with someone who teaches them how to paint on a first date, or pottery, or he should be building a group of businesses around him where they share marketing budget. And Joy, I want to take the lead on this. I want you to take this on as a project, because he's in Kelowna, BC, okay? And this is how deep you should be going. Tell him to find other businesses that other people on first dates would love going to. A coffee shop, a restaurant where really nice ambiance, because eventually the virus is going to be over, okay? Pottery on first date, beach volleyball on first date, biking tours on the first date, or date night, or whatever it is. And he should have at least 10 different businesses that he should be connecting with, and all the businesses share on a marketing cost or marketing budget, and then they can share the same clients, because the client doesn't want to go and throw axes, every Friday. But the client might try the 10 different businesses, and by the time they come back a year later, they'd be excited about throwing axes again, okay? So I'm going to leave that to you. I'm going to end the video here. You guys talk about this and come up with a strategy. And maybe even do some research, what kind of businesses are around him. That's going to be a huge waste of energy. But I would only do that if he became engaged. Can he come up with, let's say, $500 a month? And if we can get 10 other businesses to come up with $500 a month, we can help all the 10 businesses to get business in Kelowna, British Columbia, okay? So anyways, I'm gonna stop the video here. Tell me what type of videos you need, all right? We'll talk soon, bye.